Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. Today's topic: explore the wild nature of Croatia and Slovenia. Presented by NatHab Expedition Leader Monika Mikulec. I'm your host, Rob Mess. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Take it away, Monika.
Thank you, Rob. Welcome everyone to this presentation. And of course, a big hello from Croatia. So I'm so excited having an opportunity to share with you more information about beautiful Croatia and Slovenia. Um, Before we get started, I would like to introduce myself. Um, Born and raised in Croatia, I was always a lover of outdoors. In the beginning of my career, I was working in the corporate world for a couple of years, but my passion for travel took over, and I left that corporate world in order to dedicate my life to responsible tourism. Um, I finished graduate school. I have MBA degree. I'm also a PhD student working on matters of sustainable development. And I'm also a sommelier. So I have many different interests. Um, the there are a few things in life that will impact us as much as traveling will. It changes us. It changes us, but it changes the local community in so many positive ways, and that's something that makes me extremely happy. So, guys, travel as much as you can. I would be happy to meet in Croatia and share all my knowledge about Croatia and Slovenia. So thanks again for being with me today. I hope you will enjoy some of the highlights that I'm going to share with you. So that's me. The picture is not so clear, but I'm sure you can see me. Um, this is the map of Europe. Both Croatia and Slovenia are the countries located in Southern Europe. Between Western and Eastern Europe. Croatia occupies most of the eastern coast of the Adriatic Sea, so we don't have ocean, we have sea. Both countries have several land neighbors like Italy, Austria, Hungary, Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Montenegro. Croatia has around 4 million people, and Slovenia around 2. So both countries lies in that Mediterranean basin, which is actually the second largest hotspot in the world. And the region is home to many unique reptile species, and definitely is considered one of the most important areas on Earth for endemic plants. We are also part of European Union, both countries, and European Union has own ecological network called Natura 2000, which includes around 40% of Croatia and 40% of Slovenia land territory. So basically, due to its specific geographical position and characteristic ecological and geomorphological conditions, Croatia and Slovenia are one of the richest European countries in terms of biodiversity. The great diversity of land, marine, underground habitats resulted in a wealth of species and subspecies, including a significant number of endemics. Croatia is also among 8 European countries with the greatest mammal diversity. This is the map which follows our itinerary. We land in Zadar, And after landing and exploring this beautiful Dalmatian town and nearby areas like Plitvice National Park and Paklenica National Park, we go towards the north, stopping along the way in a North Velebit National Park. So that's the third national park that we're gonna visit. Then we go a little north to Tres Island. In that area, we stay for 2 nights. And then we move to Istria. As you can see on the map, where it says Hum. So Hum is located in Istria. And finally, we reach Slovenia and the town of Bled and Bohinj, and that's the area of called Triglav. So Triglav is a national park. It's the only national park in Slovenia. And that's the place where we actually end our trip. This is the place where we stay for 2 nights in Zadar. So this is the first hotel. So it's located on peninsula, right in the old town. So basically, if you come a day or two prior to trip, I highly suggest visiting maybe some things on that peninsula. It's really small. It's basically everything is like 10-15 minutes away from the hotel by foot. So feel free to visit museums and some other cultural things if you have time before the trip starts. This is Zadar. Zadar is actually one of the most ancient cities on the Adriatic Sea from 9th century BC. It's located in that northern part of the Dalmatian coast. When we say Dalmatian coast, it's not actually the whole coast, but it begins a little bit north from Zadar, and then it goes all the way to the south of Croatia. So that's Dalmatian coast. So we're gonna visit some parts of Dalmatian coast. It's very unique. And in Zadar, we take a guided tour of the old town. I believe you guessed this is Plitvice Lakes National Park. So the day after visiting Zadar, we go to Plitvice. It's a national park which has 16 connected lakes, has upper and lower lakes. The park is really unique, and something similar cannot be found in the world. So basically, whoever comes to Croatia wanna go there, and it's really something that you shouldn't miss. So obviously, it's the most visited national park in Croatia, but we go there early in the morning to skip the crowds. Also, we use some less busy trails where you can enjoy in flora and fauna around the lakes. It's important maybe to say Croatia in general is famous for its unique geography, and a significant part of Croatia's landscape is composed of limestone. So it's a sedimentary rock that is largely comprised of calcium carbonate. Limestone is also known as karst, so maybe you heard for karst landscape. In Europe, the biggest karst landscape is actually located in our country, not just in Croatia and not just in Slovenia. It's also in Bosnia, in Montenegro, and in nearby countries. But that area is the largest karst landscape in Europe. So the landscape has created unique environments for a variety of flora and geological formations, such as rivers, waterfalls, underground caves. We have more than 1,000 caves, and a lot of them are underground caves, and a lot of them are still undiscovered. The animal world of the Plitvice Lakes National Park is diverse. and rich, thanks to the diversity and preservation of the habitats. Um, the day after, we go to Velebit Nature Park. Velebit Nature Park is the largest and most complex protected area in Croatia. In terms of landforms and vegetation, it includes the most important mountain in Croatia, protected from 1978, and was included actually in UNESCO World Network of Biosphere Reserves. Velebit, so Velebit has two national parks. This picture was taken on in Paklenica National Park, so that's one of those two national parks. And actually, we were observing some birds there. Velebit in general. So this is also Velebit, but this is another trail and this is another national park. So this one is called North Velebit National Park. So we go a little bit to the north and then we actually go to this area. So it's not located just right around the corner where is the Paklenica National Park. So it's like 2 hours away from Paklenica, the other national park, which is part of that Velebit mountain. Velebit in general has about 2,000 plant species, subspecies, many rare, endangered, endemic, and protected plants, and some of which are only found on Velebit, like there is a Velebit Degania, window bellflower, Grecian grassy bells, and so on. So the fauna of Velebit is diverse and very, very valuable. Here we can also find some large carnivores like wolf, bears. We do have brown bears just in Croatia. In general, Europe has just brown bears. Eurasian lynx, wildcat, and some other mammals like boars, deer, chamois. Birds such as capercaillie, hazelgrouse, golden eagle, different owls, woodpecker species, and numerous typical mountain species. Also, there are some small species, some species of smaller carnivores, such as badger, fox, and so on. The pictures that you see, so that's, as I already mentioned, another trail. The trail starts actually in the beech forest. So first we go through the beech forest, and then in the end we actually end up on this beautiful meadow, usually covered by a bunch of different wildflowers. And then we go to the summit of that peak. When we talk about the mountains in Croatia, so the highest mountain is not higher than 6,000 feet. So, for example, this peak that we go on this trail, it's approximately 4,600 feet. So basically not so high, but it has very beautiful view of the islands. So all these islands are part of Croatia. Croatia has more than 1,000 islands, so pretty much pretty much islands, and we are very, very famous for that. Of course, there are some, when you have wildflowers, you have also butterflies. Many of them are endangered. Many of them are included in the Croatian and European Red List of butterflies. After Velebit, the next stop is actually a little bit to the north, where we visit the place which is famous for griffon vultures. Um, you know that even though griffon vultures live in other parts of the world, like in Spain, France, Italy, Serbia, Greece, Bulgaria is also famous for griffon vultures. But the Croatian population is really unique in the world because these birds nest right above the sea, while in other regions they nest mostly in mountain areas. So that's why these griffon vultures in Croatia are very actually unique. The first bird reserve in the world, uh, whose primary goal was the protection of griffon vultures, was actually proclaimed here in 1969 in one of the island called Kirk, which is close to the Cres where we're gonna visit. So it's also area with griffon vultures. Griffon vultures, you see them, they are pretty big. They live up to 40 years in captivity, unfortunately less in the wild. Um, Exclusively feed on the carcasses of large and mid-sized mammals, and they never they never eat live prey. So for this reason, we call them, they play a hygienic role in the ecosystem, and they prevent the possible spread of certain infection diseases. Um, Griffon vulture is definitely one of the largest bird species in the world, and definitely the largest one in Croatia. Um, after their first flight, young griffon vultures stay only briefly in the area, and they start their migration across Europe or even Africa, and they return to this area when they are 4 or 5 years to find a partner and to build a nest. Um, in the period from December to January, the female lays just one egg, and both parents take care of. So griffon vultures, like certain other bird species, remain with their partner for life. Um, watching watching griffon vultures in flight is always a special experience. Flying mostly in groups and barely flapping their wings. They spend hours searching the terrain for food, which is very interesting to observe. Not only to bird watchers, so all visitors like to watch them. So we take a boat trip, and as you can see, we observe them from the boat. Before, so actually we board the boat just in front of our hotel, and then we sail to get to Tres Island, and then we first go to the Griffon Rescue Center. After we get some information from them and we see them, maybe we see them, some griffon vultures there, and then we continue sailing further to the south of the island to search for griffon vultures, and we always see them. So no matter are you coming in, May, June, July, August, September, we always see them. So there are certain places where we do know that they are for sure, and then we enjoy. Um, of course, apart from vultures, the bird reserves are also home to some other bird species, such as the golden eagle, owls, peregrine falcon, kestrel, raven, Shag, and many others. Um, it's also nice to maybe mention that we spend around that area 2 nights before we move further to Istria. The town that you see, so that's home. It has like 13 habitats, um, and it's formally listed as the smallest town in the world. I had some guests from United States, and they told me, no, it's not the smallest. We have one which is the smallest in the world. But this one is actually ended up in the Guinness Book of Records. So I do believe that this one is maybe really the smallest one. There are certain criteria what's actually town, and according to that, this one is actually um, the smallest one. So it has the mayor, even it has just 30 inhabitants. According to the legend, home was created by accident when the giants didn't have many stones left when building the cities in the valley of Mirna River, which is nearby. So they decided to build this mini town. That day, after visiting home, we go to famous Modwon Forest in the heart of Istria, in the northern part. So that's the natural habitat of truffles. Modwon Forest is among the best truffle regions in the world. And during the truffle hunt in the forest, we we usually find the truffles with of course with the experienced truffle dogs. So it's a really nice walk through that forest. um of course, once we experience the truffle hunting, we also need to try them, right? So we go to Olive Oil Estate. It's actually a winery too. It's a family-owned place, and we have a olive oil degustation there, as you can see on this picture. So we learn how to taste the olive oil. Um, and what's the difference between the varieties of the olive oil. So we try many different varieties here. And after that, we have lunch, truffle lunch, some pasta with truffles. So far, the guests loved this place, and they said that was the best lunch ever they had. After lunch, we do some wine tasting, actually, during the lunch. So everything is eco on this farm, and their olive oil was proclaimed as one in top 20 the best olive oils in the world. So they really have very good olive oil. In general, Easter is very famous for olive oil, not just for truffles or some other things like wine. And we are highly on the map as that region as one of the best for olive oil. Um, the day after, we cross the border and we go to Bled Lake. So the castle that you see, so there's the castle just above the lake Bled, is the oldest one in Slovenia. You can also see a small island on the lake to the right, a little bit. So that's the only island which Slovenia has. And our hotel is located by the lake, so it's a perfect location to walk around. When we get into Slovenia, our first hike is located not so far from Bled Lake, in Triglav National Park. So that's the only national park in Slovenia. but they are very, very proud of that national park. It's really beautiful. It's a really pristine nature there. Um, so that first hike that we usually do, so we go in this kind of valley surrounded by the peaks, by the mountains. And you see a little house. So there's a Slovenian family which takes care of that house, and we have a Slovenian lunch there. They live there from June to the end of September with their cows there. So we experienced a little bit of Slovenian mountain life, and then we hike further, also passing some beautiful wildflowers. Uh, these pink flowers are actually that's the famous three-glove rose. We always try to find three-glove rose. It's endemic species. Also some other flowers that we see on the way. This in the middle, that's the large hemp nettle flower. Usually very pretty for the most of the guests. Um, After hike, we go to bee farm. It's a really nice experience. We learn a lot about the bees and about their world and why they're so important for our planet. And of course, we have a degustation of honey products. And the best part is, of course, to have a honey liquor. Everybody likes that. The day after, we go to Mount Vogel. So on the right picture down there, you see a cable car. So we take a cable car to go to upper cable car station. And if you look at the left picture, there is one building, gray building. So that's actually was a hotel. It's not anymore, so doesn't work. But the cable car is just nearby. And then we hike up to the nearby peak. Um, some guests prefer to take a chairlift, which is also a good way to get on the top of the peak. But what we usually do, we go back with the chairlift, so you can have a view of Tree Glove peaks, which you can see in the background um, of the picture. Um, this is the peak. This is the peak and one of our groups. Once we are done with Mount Vogel, we go back to that upper station for the last view to the Lake Bohinj. So from that upper cable car station, you can see that beautiful Lake Bohinj. And then after that, we go down and go a little bit further to the nearby village, which is famous for cheese. Bohin cheese is really famous. And we visit Eco Farm, and this nice lady, she show us how to make cheese and yogurt. And yogurt is the best, the best one that you can find in the world. So everybody likes her yogurt, and of course some different products. So we have lunch there. After this lunch, we have another hike in Mosnica Gorge. I didn't add that picture. Um, it's also, so there's a couple of gorges in the area. That one is the less visited, but it's really, really beautiful. And we even have option to go down to the river um, to see that crystal clear river. Um, when we talk about the animals, so different ones can be seen. You never know which one when. But very often we can see chamois, either in Croatia or Slovenia. And on that boat trip that I mentioned, we also often see the dolphins. The most common one in Croatia, the species is bottlenose dolphin. Um, if you plan to come to this part of the world, of course, you need to pack certain things. This is some of the things that we highly suggest to bring. So definitely reusable water bottle that you're gonna need it. Hat definitely. Sports shoes or or sports shoes and hiking shoes. Rain jackets. You never know. We go to the mountains. Yeah, so you never know about the weather. Sweater, fleece, short and long pants, short and long sleeved shirts, day pack, binoculars. Yeah, definitely binoculars. Um, for griffon vultures, you can even see them without that, but it's much nicer with binoculars. Sunscreen, if you are maybe sensitive, if your skin is sensitive, then we suggest maybe bringing your own sunscreen. We always have also sunscreen. Um, and of course, swimsuit. That's something which I highly suggest bringing because, as I mentioned earlier, so we have Adriatic Sea, so it's really not the ocean. Adriatic Sea is still very clean and clear. We have a current which goes from the south, where is the entrance to the Adriatic Sea. It goes along the Croatian coast, all the way to Venice, and from Venice it goes down along the Italian coast, bringing the trash that way down and out of the Adriatic Sea. So even though that sea is pretty shallow, it's really and quite narrow, actually is very very clean. So you really want to experience the beauty of that Adriatic Sea. And guys, thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, I'm here.
All right, thank you so much. Now, before we start in with the question and answer session, I would like to remind everyone that you can submit your questions via the question field in your control panel. All right, let's get to some of these questions today. All right, so if we are able to experience some of these wonderful things like olive oil and the cheese and the truffles, is it something that we are going to be able to take home with us? Is there a way to do that?
Yes, of course. Yeah. You know, it's a good. It's a good gift. It's a very local, so definitely we always highly suggest bringing very good cheese, especially from Prague. Prague cheese is also very famous, and Bohin cheese too. Olive oil. So yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely.
Great, thank you. So, what time of year do these trips run?
We have trips in June, July, August, and September.
And if I wanted to see wildflowers, is there a particularly good time to go?
If you really want to enjoying wildflowers, I would highly suggest coming in June and July. In August, you're gonna see them too, of course. In September too, but much less. So the best, definitely the best. If I would need to choose the month that I would come and want to see wildflowers, wild butterflies, I would come in the beginning of July. But
Great.
we have wildflowers every 3 weeks, different ones. So even if you hike on the same trail, you would see different flowers. So no, so doesn't matter when you come. In September we still have flowers, but different ones.
Great. Thank you for that. So there in one of the photos you showed a group of people and they were wearing matching hats. Do those kind of are we going to get those hats, say, from NatHab, or was that a specific to your group there?
Do you mean, are you talking about the photo on the bee farm?
Yes. Yeah, one of the
Yes,
guests was
yes, yes.
referring to that one.
The lady, so that family, um, which owns that farm, bee farm, so they have those hats. So we don't need to bring those kind of hats. So when I mentioned on the packing list to bring a hat, that's like a normal hat for every day. That you wanna be protected from the sun. But those big ones, we will get it from that lady on
Great.
the bee.
Thanks. Now, if I'm coming out there on the NatHab trip and I wanted to do something on my own afterwards, is there a lot to do in the area?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's a 9-day trip, and still there's always plenty of things to see in Croatia. So if you want to explore more of Croatia and more of Slovenia, I would suggest coming a couple of days before the trip starts to explore Croatia, and after that, go on the trip. And after the trip is done, maybe stay a couple of days in Slovenia. Slovenia is the first eco country in Europe. It's really beautiful. The capital is beautiful. It's a quite small. It's a very beautiful European city. If you wanna go, if you wanna see a little bit more of the towns, so we don't see much towns, so more nature, but definitely there are plenty of things that we didn't cover. Uh, so there is always places to visit.
Is there a lot of walking on this trip? Do I need to be in really good physical condition?
Um, I mean, everybody has an option actually to stay maybe in the nearby area and explore that area a little bit. So if sometimes we get tired, and after a couple of days we maybe don't wanna hike. So we hike, just around the hut or something like that. So yeah, so there's always option, for longer and shorter hikes. And when we have a bigger group, I mean, the groups are not big, but with six and more, we have two guides, and there's always option, to stay with one guide who can go with one part of the group, and the other one can go with maybe somebody who wants to go all the way to the summit.
And what type of elevation do we get up to? Am I going to need to do anything special to prepare for a high elevation?
No, no, not really, because as I mentioned, so the highest one is um, around the highest one definitely around 4,000, 700 feet. Yeah, so even in Slovenia, that's the highest one. So
Gr-
for that, usually people don't have any problems. So far, hmm, yeah, I don't remember that we had somebody who has any problems with that.
Great. Thank you for that. Is there an option to do the Triglav Mountain expedition as well?
Sorry, to do what?
The Triglav Mountain expedition, is there an opportunity to do that as well?
Sorry, I didn't get it. What kind
Um,
of expedition?
Triglav National Park?
Okay. We say a little bit different. Triglav. Yeah,
Triglav.
yeah.
My mistake.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, Triglav. I mean, once we get to Slovenia and that area, Bled and Bohinj, so all our hikes are located in that Triglav National Park. And if you, for example, if you want to stay longer in that area, so you can take some extra nights, and then you can also, do some other things. So it's a beautiful area, and people are amazed by Bled Lake, especially Bled Lake, because of the scenery of that castle above the lake and the island, and just like the whole scenery is really amazing.
Great, thank you for that. Well, unfortunately, that's going to be the last question that we do have for today. So I'd like to throw it back to you for any closing comments that you may have for us.
uh, I would just say that I'm extremely grateful that guys, you decided to invest your time in this webinar to hear more about Croatia and Slovenia. I do hope that you enjoyed. So if you decide to dive in this part of the world, which is still one of the ecologically best preserved parts of Europe, my colleagues and I will be really happy to welcome you, to meet you, and share information about our countries. So I do hope to see you one day in Croatia and Slovenia.
Monica, thank you so much for taking the time to present for us today. And I'd also like to thank everyone who tuned in today. Now, if you are interested in information on how you can travel with NatHab, please give us a call at the number on your screen, or you can send us an email at info@nathab.com. Our adventure specialists are happy to help you out. Join us tomorrow for our next daily dose of nature. You can check out this week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I will conclude the webinar. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time.